Welcome back to the Skeleton Crew's A Nightmare on Elm Street retrospective. It's time to relive the nightmares with your hosts, Jamie Jenkins, Dave Z, Michael J, and Alex Edwards. Get ready for an in-depth look into the movies that haunted your dreams since 1984. So put down that coffee and toss that bottle of Hypnocil. If you think you'll get out of this retrospective alive, you must be dreaming.
Hey, what's up, guys? It is the Skeleton Crew, and we are back. This is our Nightmare on Elm Street retrospective, where we go through every single Nightmare on Elm Street movie for June and July this summer. That's what we're doing this summer, guys. So, this is Alex, and something's trying to get inside my body, and I'm here trying to get some sleep with Jamie Jenkins. What's up, Jamie?
Screw sleep!
Yes, sleep will kill you. Now it's time to sit down with my main man, Dave Z. What's up, Dave?
Well, fuck you, Will! Fuck you! You sit down!
Alright, I'll sit down, sure. And last but not least, it's slumber party time with Michael J.
How's this for a wet dream?
Well, those are the only ones I remember, Mike. So we're excited here, guys. It is the 8 weeks of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Like I said, for all of June and July, we are going to release one show a week for 8 straight weeks for 8 movies. A Nightmare on Elm Street, 2010. The specter of a dead child rapist haunts the children of the parents who murdered him, stalking and killing them in their dreams.
Wake up, Nancy! Wake up!
Stay awake.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
I'm your nightmare.
If you die in your dreams, you die for real.
Oh my god. No, just me.
A Nightmare on Elm Street. Rated R. Now playing.
Welcome to prime time, bitch. You are all my children now.
Wow, I can't believe it, guys. We have finally reached the end of the retrospective. We are here. This is the show everyone on Facebook was so excited about. You know, it took you guys 2 months to get here, but it's been a journey. It's been fun the whole way through. And we are on A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, 2010. This is a polarizing film. And it is mostly hated, if I will be honest. Most people in the world hate this movie. Now, Freddy Krueger, the big problem is this. When you have horror villains who are played by a guy, you know, not wearing a mask, you pretty much see their face with some makeup on it, and they talk, and they move around a lot, and all that type of thing, people find it much harder to replace the guy. Like Robert Englund is, you would never even dare think that in the first 7 movies somebody would play Freddy besides Robert. Even in part 2 they tried that for 2 weeks and they said this isn't working. So imagine so many movies down the road. Now the same would go for Pinhead. I don't know who else.
And
wait, let
go
me-
for Pinhead because
yeah.
Chubby Pinhead did not
Right.
work.
I liked Pinhead in Revelations, though, I will say that. I did enjoy that for some reason. I don't know why, but I did.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't look at it as closely as everybody else did, so I didn't hate it like all that, but it was just whatever. Because I thought the Hellraisers in general suck. I didn't really think that that ninth one was so much worse than the last 4 that came before it.
I actually didn't care, except he was like popping the buttons off the costume. You know?
Oh yeah.
Put your eye out.
It's like Homer Simpson squeezed into a BDSM suit.
yeah. What's the torture over there? They stuff donuts down his throat. Yeah. More.
Yeah, that's the greatest.
That's weird that they actually replaced somebody in a series. You don't see that. In this instance, it makes sense because it's a remake. So, of course, you're going to put someone new there.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, you have to. Like, remember when Kane Hodder choked me out? He did that because he was offended that I forgot where the conversation went when I met him, but it led to something about him saying he wanted to be in the remake. He thought he should be in it. So I said, you really thought you should have been in the remake? And the reason I said that to him and he got mad at me is because why would he think he should be? I mean, the point of it is that it's a fresh start and all the guys from the past are just gone. Just because Rob Zombie threw Daniel Harris in...
But they'd be playing different characters. She played a different character. So, if they brought Kane Hodder in and made him just, do like a cameo.
Like Crazy Ralph. If he was Crazy Ralph, I'd be okay with it.
Then, yeah. But I think it makes total sense to replace the main actor in a remake.
Right, that's the point. Otherwise, we'll make Freddy Part 9.
Exactly. It would just be another sequel.
Right, so I don't care. Kane Hodder was wrong that day, and I don't care what he thinks. So, Jackie Earle Haley was cast to play Freddy Krueger in this movie. Kyle Gallner was Quentin, and he's the emo dude from something House of Connecticut, Haunting.
Haunting in Connecticut,
Haunting.
Yes.
He's just the emo dude, period. He always plays emo guy.
Right. He looks like Tom from House of Horrors.
He looks like he wants to die, honestly. Like, look at his face. He just looks like death.
Yeah, like he wants to slash his wrist every 5 seconds.
If I was him, that's what I would do.
What? Wait, is
just
he the guy?
Straight down, not across.
The main kid hanging out with Nancy.
I know that. Is he the guy from Haunting in Connecticut? He was the main guy, the sick kid?
He was the kid, yeah, the sick kid. Yep.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I knew he looked familiar. I just couldn't figure out what he was from. Okay.
Mike, straight down, how do you know the right way?
My brother's like nursing. Well, he just did the nursing thing. So
I'm kidding.
The craft, homie.
Thank you, Dave.
Yes, the craft. I forgot about the craft.
Yeah, what are you talking about? How do you
love
know the
me
right
some
way?
Nev, for Christ's sake. Yes.
They're remaking that. Ooh.
Good
yeah,
for you,
fuck
Dave.
them.
Hey, you know what I'm here for. Come on.
Remake Nev movie. Fuck you.
Rooney Mara plays Nancy, and that was a huge controversial casting because
Rooney.
The fuck names their kid Rooney?
Because she was practically asleep all the time, really. I mean, that's what it looks to me like. She's just, I mean, she doesn't open her mouth when she talks.
Yeah.
Well, so she's the opposite of Nancy from part one.
Slap
She
her
was
and
still
go, "Wake up."
dopey, though.
So she's the opposite, Jamie. Part one,
Right.
Nancy. Her mouth was always open.
she made sure it was closed.
Yeah, she watched the movie, said, "Oh, fuck that. I'm keeping my mouth shut this movie. I can't be like that bitch."
Well, she kept her emotions very closed off, too.
In the audition, can you breathe through your nose? You're in.
Real quick before we get to the other people. This girl, Rooney Mara, she looks like the mom from Uncle Buck. You ever see Uncle Buck?
Yes.
What?
Remember the mom with the bizarre haircut that had to leave because her brother had a heart attack or something?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She looks like her. She looks like the daughter of that girl.
Yeah, maybe a younger. Maybe she. Well, no, she wasn't old enough to play the daughter in the movie, but she should have, if she was alive.
She's. I don't think she's lead material, Rooney Mara. She's not even known for this movie.
She was good in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I enjoyed her in that.
Well, she's not even known for this. Like, if you look at her, you know how they always go to IMDb and it says what you're known for? This isn't even in there. This is just like in the other movies section.
She wants to forget this existed.
Actually, that's what I heard, actually, that after the movie came out, didn't she kind of denounce it? Or
As she should have. I'm glad she did.
She did?
Yes, she did.
Oh, she's one of them bitches just because it was a horror movie. She thinks she's too good for it now.
No, she did it because it sucks. That's the difference.
I think that after she did Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, she thought she was, this didn't belong on her resume.
Oh, she did that afterwards?
She was like,
Yeah, that was 2012.
Oh, wow.
So she was good for this movie.
This is hated.
It is not. Everybody keeps saying that, but every time I do a show on this movie, people come out of the woodwork to support me.
Well, it has 5.2 on IMDb. I mean, that's all.
Fuck IMDb. That never counts.
But also everything we hear on Facebook.
Oh.
Okay.
No, I know what you mean. But it's just weird to me that every time I have, because you know what happens. Every time I do on the show in this, it ends up being like, rah, 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 rah. And then I always have people coming out going, you're right, I like it. And, Will Wilhelm being one of them.
Will Wilhelm. Katie Cassidy is the star, the standout actress of this movie. Yes.
Oh. Should have been the lead.
Yep. That's what I was going to say. She could have carried this whole movie.
I mean, it broke my heart when she ended up getting taken out. And I was like, God damn it.
She even looked hot being dragged down the hallway in a body bag. Like, it was just unbelievable.
Even with fucking Freddie's voice? Was she still hot to you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So she would, if Katie Cassidy was covered in blood and had Jackie Earle Haley's Freddie voice all the time, would you still fuck her?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes.
Fair enough. She's hot.
And, oh, dude, when she's in those little shorts and the fake football jersey. Oh.
And I don't like blondes at all, but let me tell you. Wow.
Yeah, I think Nancy just played it too subtle. And it's interesting because, no one should be anything in the world. Not everybody acts the same, and not everybody, is a cookie cutter leading lady, I guess, if you want to say. So she just approached it however she felt, I guess. And they did make her an emo chick, and she's hanging out with an emo guy who thinks that he can get her. So I think she was just playing to her part. I just don't think she's interesting or charismatic. And not even because she's not good looking.
Oh, no, she's not bad. She's not bad looking at all.
No, she's not.
She actually looks like an ex of mine, like almost exactly.
I think she looks strung out by the time we get to the end of this movie, which is the point. But I mean, even from the beginning, she looks limp. She looks very emo, like she doesn't give a shit. And maybe that's her character. I don't know, but
right, that's the thing. Should we be thinking she's not a leading lady because her character is not really normal lead material?
I'm sitting there going, she can't make very good tips.
Well, how about that? That Springwood Diner, that was, to me, a callback to Alice from Part 4, working in the diner.
I agree with that.
Right? Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We also have a line from Part 2. The how's that for a wet dream line. Mm. So I think they did a lot of callbacks.
Yep. Even the clothes. Didn't you remember when you said that she was wearing the jersey?
Yeah.
Well, that was a callback to Nancy in Part 1. They just flipped the girl. She in the same number too, number 10, I believe. They made her like the Nancy. In the first fucking half hour of this movie, you would have thought she was the Nancy. Even so much as the kid crawling up to her fucking window.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When I saw this in the theater, I really felt like, I was like, okay, well, the other girl's name is Nancy, but clearly she's not the lead. Katie Cassidy is going to be, I just figured that because her name wasn't Tina, so I figured that it wasn't going to be that role. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm down. And that's why it shocked the hell out of me when she got killed. Because I was like, holy crap, because up to the point where she does, you could easily believe that she was going to be the lead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's very disappointing.
I liked it, though, that because of that little...
I do too. Script-wise, I think that's a really solid choice. I just missed her because I like her so much.
I know.
And I think Nancy was the way she was because she was supposed to be, because of the character. Like you were tossing that idea around. She even says, I don't get along with... I don't know what she said. She's like, I don't fit in well with everybody. And she's always painting and drawing, I should say, and she's artsy and shit like that. She keeps to herself a little bit. So I think that was done with intent in this movie.
Yeah, I know, but Is that what we want to see, and is that who we want steering the ship? I just don't. To me, no, it's not. So
it always makes me think of Not Another Teen Movie, and I keep expecting her to take off the paint-covered overalls and take her hair out of a ponytail. And
she's all that. That's what she reminded me of.
Right.
Yes.
But she's not as hot as the chick from She's All That.
Oh, Rachel Lee Cook, yes, please.
Yeah. This movie, I saw this in a drive-in movie theater, actually. They have one in New York. And I went to New York to see this in the drive-in. All right, so let's start from the beginning. Because this one we have to start from the beginning because, like we said, we don't normally walk through a movie, but since it's broken up into 3 different sections, and obviously the first section is way different than the other 2 because the first one is Katie Cassidy.
Yes.
Yeah. So they start off in Springwood Diner. A kid keeps passing out there, and eventually, in the dream, Freddie comes up behind him and has a knife he's going to stab him in the throat. And we do the thing, not that I'm complaining, because, there's a fresh start, but they mimic the dream. Mm-hmm. Instead of him just sitting there with his head down, instead he's standing up and acting out as if Freddie's behind him. Now, it's weird because choosing that is almost making it like there's some kind of invisible guy doing things to people, It's a weird...
Less like a dream thing and more like a ghost kind of thing, you mean? Like, yeah, I can kind of see that. I do, however, like that they went that direction in this film because I think it sort of lends itself, because like the whole suicide thing, and so you watch somebody do that and you're going to believe it's suicide. I mean, it allows it to be more visceral too, which, I kind of like. I'm okay with that here. I think also that neck slice looks amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching it last night, and it looks like his throat is really cut. Like, you know how a lot of times in movies they'll do the whole fake knife, run it across the neck, and then you have just the blood dribbling out of the end of the knife thing as it comes across the neck, and there's clearly not a cut and you're in the neck. It's blood on your neck. That looked so good. And I think it was CG because a lot of this movie is, but I don't care. It looked great. I mean, I was just like, wow. It was a very brief thing, but I think it looked phenomenal.
Yeah, great opener to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like the whole look of the movie. I think it looks great. The lighting is great. There's definitely a sense of dread. There's a sense. I think all the senses we're supposed to feel from this were conveyed in directing and lighting.
I think there's some pretty colors, like even in the very beginning where his dream takes him, like he starts walking through the kitchen front, and there are greens and purples, and it's kind of comic booky, but very subdued. But it reminds me of like the old Romero movies, like Creepshow, like with the green and purple lights and stuff. And I always thought that looked really pretty.
I like the pigs.
I like turtles.
Turtles? There were turtles in there?
No, I was that internet kid. I like turtles.
Oh! I thought they were making turtle soup or something. I saw pig heads everywhere because, you got to have pigs in horror movies. Shit.
Now, what do you think of CGI wall Freddy? Freddy coming out of the wall. This time they didn't use, like, whatever that was in the original, where they pushed Robert Englund through it.
Yes.
They used CGI.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
The dumbest thing I've ever seen. CGI is the reason Rick Baker is not working anymore. Thank you.
Well, they had an age.
Yeah, he is also 74.
Well, Donald was ready to do Halloween up to 22. I'm sure Rick Baker would keep going.
You have a Donald Pleasance reference for everything in your life?
I certainly do. Like I told Alex the other day off the air, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about him. So,
not creepy at all.
Well, Mike, do you go a day without thinking about sex?
No, that's multiple times a day.
Okay. Well, then you know what, Mike, you're healthy. If you were going to say you never think about sex, but you think about Donald every day and not sex, I'd say you got a problem. But as long as you think about sex every day, you're okay with me.
What if he thinks about sex with Donald every day?
That's never come up, unfortunately.
Let me go back to the CGI.
Yeah.
That was the first big misstep of the movie, right there. And I'll leave it at that. That was the first big misstep for me.
I'll agree with that. I mean, I did say at one point that maybe they used CGI in order to get more detail in his face, because it is really detailed but then I went back and, when we most recently watched the original, you can see a shit ton of detail through the latex. And I was like, okay, well, that's not it. They just did it. And I think that was a mistake. I don't think it looked as good. Doesn't ruin the movie for me, though. So, I wish they had done it differently, but oh well.
Yeah, it didn't look very good. It was lower grade CGI, and it was too much.
Yeah.
I could have lived with a CGI moment in that scene, but not that one.
How do you guys feel about them changing their? See, I'm not. No matter what I say about this movie, believe me, when I directly compare it to the original, it has no bearing on what I think of it. So I'm just curious, though. What do you guys think of the choice of not making Tina and Nancy really friends in any real way? I mean, because part one, they were hanging out, sleeping over each other's house. In this one, it's hardly a real relationship.
I think it's cool because it's different.
Right. Yeah, it refreshed it. And I think maybe that's why they didn't call her Tina.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm okay with it, too. And I don't mean different from Nightmare on Elm Street. I just mean it's different from slasher movies and horror movies in general. Usually they hang out. You know what I mean? It's just unusual. So because it was unusual, I welcomed it.
So Freddie, in this movie, he's a straight-up child molester. And, that's what they wanted to do in 1985, but they just couldn't because, like we said in the retro 8 weeks ago, that there were real child molesting cases that took place that were bullshit at the time, but nobody knew that, so they didn't really want them to be want Freddie to be a child molester. So in this one, he was, and I don't think he killed anybody, right? Didn't he just molest him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is what I think, and I don't know that they did this on purpose, but if they did, I think it's really clever. At one point later in the movie, Emo Kid, I can't remember his name.
Just call him Emo, that's fine.
Emo Kid says, when he's talking to his dad, he's like, we were 5, we would have said anything. Well, the thing was, back during the 80s when they had all the trouble with all the kids in the molestation case at the preschool, it turns out what they found out was that all the kids had been goaded into saying that. I mean, all the adults had told the kids to say, or they were like, don't you remember? Didn't they touch you like this? And so basically the kids started to believe it because that's what they were told. And so I thought that was really clever if they did it on purpose, that he was like, we would have said anything. We were 5. And I'm like, that's funny because they did say anything back then. But anyway.
And if they were lying, they couldn't have said that he killed them because they're right there.
Yeah. I like that. I like that change. I think, it's a change. I really don't see the reason to keep everything exactly the same. I also think that it makes it really dark.
Yeah.
And also, the one thing I really like about that, like my favorite aspect of that whole thing, is that these kids have a direct connection to Freddie in this film.
Yes.
It's not just their parents, and it's not him getting revenge on their parent, because their parents burned him. This is a direct connection. Like, they all knew Freddie when they were little bitty kids, and I think that is really. I think it's better. I think it's personal. It's very personal, and it gives him a real reason to go. I mean, because later on in the sequels, he kind of ran out of reasons to go after kids.
Every town has an Elm Street.
Yeah, I mean, like, he was running out of kids to the point where he had to find ways to drag other kids in. And I'm like, all right, this is getting stretched way too thin. But these kids all have a very direct connection to Freddie, which gives him all the reason. And I think that's cool.
But it's funny because now in this movie, he has lines like, you look just as beautiful as ever. Yeah, like, he should have said, like, even when you were a kid, you were pretty hot, but now. And it's weird. He shouldn't actually like him anymore now that they're all adult and stuff.
But see, that's creepy, too. I mean, that's really creepy for him to, because you think, and he's like, you look just as beautiful as ever. And I'm like, ew. Because you're talking about a 5-year-old girl. That's disgusting. But it makes your skin crawl.
Right. And I love how he's mad at the kids. Speaking of the direct connection, think about this. He's mad at the kids for blowing the whistle on his molesting them.
Yeah.
He's upset by that.
Because he feels that he was nice to them in every other way, and he was their buddy. In his fucking sick, twisted mind, they betrayed him. That's what I get out of that.
And one more thing of Freddie. Mike, did you like it when every time Freddie talks, it sounds like it's obviously in post and he's right up to a microphone? Like, all the other speaking is just, you can hear the distance between where they are and where the camera is, sort of. And with Freddie, it's all right up to a mic. Like, every time I talk, I sound like this.
I hate that fucking voice.
What?
I love it.
Me too.
It gives it a different quality, as if every time he talks, it's right in our ears no matter what. That's kind of interesting.
I never picked up on that. I like the way he
didn't either.
sounds. But
No, you didn't? Really?
No, I was just...
No, I didn't.
I just thought it was cool. I just like the sound of his voice, you know? It was different, dark.
I love the sound of his
No.
voice. I also love the fact that he took... Before doing this role, Jackie Earle Haley went to burn units so that he could learn how people talked when they had no lips, or when everything had been burned away. It's going to affect your speech. We use our lips when we talk every time we make an M sound. Or,
I don't do like this when I talk.
And so you so you can hear it when he's talking, and he says things like, may. But it's very subtle, but I think it was really dedicated of him to do that, and also very realistic. And the thing is, what I love about the makeup here is, or the CGI is, or both. I think that it's very authentic. The Freddie that we all know and love from the previous series, the bits in the series, isn't really all that authentic. That's not what someone looks like when they're burned, especially since he changes every single movie.
He looks like Pizza Face. He looks like pepperoni pizza.
But they took every effort to try to make this look, as realistic as possible. You don't have to know someone. Back in the 80s, when this first, if you didn't know someone who'd been burned, you wouldn't have anything to compare it to. But now, with knowledge at our fingertips, it would be easy for somebody to look at it and pick it apart and go, well, that's not what would happen if your face got burned. You wouldn't have any lips. Somebody would be bitching about that. So I think it's a very good idea to try to simulate at least as close as possible and still have him have the use of his eyes and all of that. I think it's a good solid choice. Yeah. Plus, it looks very different from the other Freddy, which you want to do. If you're doing a remake, you want to try to distinguish it somehow. Yeah,
but he had like these weird, like, jackass teeth. Did you ever notice his teeth were like a jackass's teeth?
What? Really? Like big ones? Yeah. Big fucking...
His front teeth were bucked.
I did not notice that. I don't know if that's a Jackie Earle Haley thing, or maybe that is also something they were trying to do to give the illusion that he had no lips. I don't know. Maybe make his teeth more prominent.
Mike, are you back?
I am back, yes.
Now, you called Freddy Kermit the Frog in this movie?
I did.
Now, why is this?
Just because I feel that the way that he sounds, it's like he's like, Kermit the Frog, Freddy, and all that, just like his voice. I just don't like the voice. It just doesn't compare to Robert Englund for me. And maybe that's just because Nightmare was the first horror movie I saw, and I was just like really, when I was a kid, I was really into it, and Robert Englund was Freddy. That's why it's very difficult for me. Mine. Exactly.
Did you want him to go, hey, asshole, here?
Yes, I want that. I want him to be like, it's a boy, and all that shit. That's what I want.
Okay, Mike, so if Jackie Earle Haley would have been in this movie looking the way he does, but having Robert Englund's voice, you would have been okay with it?
No, because the makeup sucks, too.
What?
You don't like the real burn look?
No, it's horrible.
Wait a minute. You like the burning? You like the way Cropsey looks in that movie? Because that looks closer.
Yeah, that's different. That is different makeup, but you have to remember it's done by the Weinsteins. It's like the first Dimension film ever.
It's fucking Savini, first and foremost, but that looks more like a burn victim than Freddy does.
Yeah,
But you guys got to remember, like, this burn look, a lot of people like the distance between reality and these movies. A lot of people don't really want to see a truly burned person. It's like very unsettling or something.
Good.
That's the
it's a
point,
horror
isn't
movie.
it? Don't you want it to be unsettling?
But you're crossing the line now. It's becoming too real.
I think that's okay.
Yeah, me too. I think he should be scary and fucking scary looking.
Right.
Do you think it's offensive to burned people if he looks too close to being burned?
Oh, I mean, what are they, a community now? We have to worry about everybody?
Right. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about their feelings. Fuck that.
Yeah. Hey, I got burned. I'm in this thing, so I'm offended now.
Right.
I mean, no, I don't really care. But I'm just saying, no, and just for the record, I'm just asking these questions because I'm trying to get the listener perspective covered. I actually don't care what he looks like. I think he looks fine in the movie. I'm just trying to cover, all the naysayers. So Katie Cassidy dies at the 30-minute mark, and she gets the Tina kill. So it brings you back to understanding that this is that character in a loose way. To compare the two kills from the original to this, I don't really remember like that much detail. I mean, they were both fine to me, and I do like the way her whole body is like slashed from bottom to the tits or whatever, and then she just falls in the bed. That's pretty good.
She doesn't get smeared around the ceiling like Tina did. She just gets slapped back and forth, around the hitting the walls and stuff. Whereas Tina was actually dragged. She doesn't get that much of that, but I still like it just fine. And I do like I like when her body comes straight up and then you see the slashes just like straight down the middle. That's pretty horrific. I'm pretty okay with that.
I agree, and I love the first one. I love Tina's death in the original. It's great, but I'm cool with this too. And one thing I like about this one that's cool, like Jamie said, she wasn't being thrown around, but it seemed like you could almost see an invisible Freddie like pushing her, like on the ceiling. I think the movements were done intentionally to make it look like there was that Freddie was up there on the ceiling with her, and I thought that was cool. Granted, it's not Tina the original, but it was a pretty good kill.
Well, it's obviously CG Tina kill. Like that's what that kill would have looked like today, I guess. So people will probably argue that the practical way is better, because everybody wants real. Nobody wants fake things.
Just looked good though. If it was CG, it looked fine. Like we were just saying before, the thing with Freddie coming out of the wall was bad CG. Yeah, I bitch about that. But if it looks good, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, right. So this looked good. So what's the complaint about?
Yeah.
So I guess let's just Katie Cassidy's boyfriend, I guess, runs out of the room just like the guy from the first movie, and he runs over to Nancy and he tells her that Freddie did it. Then he runs out into the open, right into where all the cops are driving around. And it's funny, man. He runs up to the cops, 20 cops surrounding him. He's covered in blood, and he's yelling, "I didn't do anything! I didn't do anything!" What does he expect the cops to do? Oh, hey guys, he just said he didn't do anything. All right, let's all go. Stop! Don't get him. What does a person? It's a weird natural instinct. Just the same way when girls are like, please, no, please, why are you doing this? Don't it's so funny that will never end, and we continue to do it, and it means nothing. It'll never change anyone's opinion of what they're doing to you.
Yeah, you know what's weird? That he creeped in fucking two girls' windows within an hour of each other. Yeah, it's just weird.
Just based on that, I'd arrest him.
Guilty.
In this movie, do you think they dropped the ball here? An iconic line in A Nightmare on Elm Street is, "This is God." And in this movie, they threw the ball up for the dunk, the alley-oop, and he says, "Oh my God," and Freddie goes, "No, just me."
I thought the same thing when I saw that scene. I was like, that would have been the perfect time for you to do that line, and did not.
Yeah, no, just me? That didn't even have to be there in a weird way.
Good call, Alex. That didn't even cross my mind, but yeah, they should have said that.
So this emo kid, now the two main people of the movie are Emo and Nancy. They are the...
Quentin, that's his name, Quentin.
Yeah, Quentin. Yeah.
That is correct.
Emo.
So now they do something really clever. The emo kid's sitting at the computer, and then the computer goes into sleep mode.
I thought that was funny. I loved it.
That is awesome. So the next kill is the kid who goes to jail, the one who tried to get the cops to not do anything to him. What do you think about that kill?
It was good.
Well, his name was Jesse, so I'd much rather have seen him in prison, get it shoved up the tailpipe, and maybe die that way.
There is no Jesse. I'm Jesse now.
Yeah.
Did anyone think when he was in jail and he was on the top bunk trying to stay awake, and he had his bunkmate who was your cellmate who was under it telling him to shut up? Did anybody think that guy probably thought he was up there jerking off? Because did you hear the sounds? Because he was smacking himself in the head trying to keep himself awake. But if I was the guy on the bottom bunk, I'd be like, dude.
I'd be like, dude, you want a contest? All right, let's see who can get it. Who can be louder?
Go for distance.
Yep. See if I can hit your eyeball.
Yep. He doesn't stay awake in a really amazing, it's not amazing, but cool little scene. He's walking down the hallway to be released, and this is a real callback to Freddy's Dead, when Carlos was walking and he turns around and there's a brick wall behind him. And there's no, where he came from doesn't exist anymore. And in this one, there was like a wall behind him. So then he knew he was in a dream. Freddie kills him by, I think his hand bursts through the chest of the kid in jail. And then Freddie tells him, your brain functions for 7 minutes after your heart stops beating.
Oh, I love that. So we have 6 more minutes to play.
That's cool.
I don't know. I think that line alone just conjures up some really horrible things in each individual person's mind. It's not really necessary to show me anything after that, because you've nailed it home by demonstrating exactly how vicious this Freddie is. I mean, he is mean and just vicious, and I like it. I love it. I mean, I love it.
It's weird. He enjoys himself, but he doesn't joke around about it.
Mm-hmm. Which I think makes it even scarier.
Mm-hmm. He does it just right. This was like part 2 Freddy.
Right.
Where he talked just a little bit, maybe a little bit more than part 2 Freddy, but, he did it just right. It wasn't overboard. It was a little line here and there. They're almost pandering to the audience a slight bit, because I think that the audience expects a little bit of that. So, but that line's great, like Jamie said, and you don't need to see anything. It's just perfect the way it is.
Now, this whole retro, like a lot of our theme has been based on this whole dream shit. Why are these people getting killed? They're awake, they're driving, they're bodybuilding. A baby is dreaming, so what does that have to do with this one's friend or that or this, the other thing? Now, this one, they choose to explain this right away, just give you one definitive answer. And the answer in this movie is a thing called micronaps, which means that you stay awake for so long that your brain just drifts off or something like that. There's no avoiding it. So you cannot stay. It's just inevitable that you're going to see Freddy at some point. Now, would you call this daydreaming? Like, is this the same? Is it just as many holes in it as daydreaming because it's not really dreams?
Well, no, I mean, I think maybe back in the series, maybe they just didn't know maybe they were like onto something and they just didn't realize it, because I don't even know if that was a thing back then, 30 years ago. But there's still so much we don't know about sleep and dreaming. So maybe they just didn't know it, but they actually could have been onto something, as far as like her falling asleep, walking through the park. Because, I mean, if you look up, it's technically called micro sleep, not micro naps, but I'm okay with that. I mean, if you look it up, people fall asleep and they don't even know it. They believe they've been awake the whole time. So what I'm saying is maybe that does explain some of the issues we had with the sequels before, but they just didn't know enough to know that they were onto something real, because it is a real thing. And the whole coma thing, it's extremely rare, but it's called fatal familial insomnia. and can actually happen. It's extremely rare. I mean, the movie leads you to believe that, you don't sleep for 72 hours or 70 hours or whatever, and then you're just going to go to sleep and never wake up again. And that is not true, obviously. It's completely not true. And I'm sure we all either have been awake that long at some point in our lives or know someone who has. So clearly that's not, I mean, people would just be comas all over the place if that were the case. But, I mean, extreme bouts of sleep deprivation can lead to that. So, I mean, that's another thing I like about this movie is that this is science. They play with it a little bit, but, I mean, it's a movie. You're going to do that. You allow them to do that a little bit. But really everything is kind of based in something real, which I think makes it even scarier because, once again, it drives home the point that you cannot escape him because eventually your body will betray you.
Yeah, and I think they say after 70 hours, that's when you start having micronaps. And then...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if it continues on, eventually it could lead to coma. Which,
Freddie says that... Right. I mean, Freddie says the thing to Nancy at the end where he's like, I just had to make sure you stayed awake long enough so that when you went to sleep, you wouldn't ever wake up and then we could play forever. Like, whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not exactly how he worded it, but you know what I mean? And that's a little bit, I mean, that's taking a lot of license, because it's going to take a severe amount of sleep deprivation to lead to that point. And she wasn't there. But
right. Yeah, I know she wasn't even near there. At that point.
So I think that's a little bit. I do like the idea, though. I like the fact that Freddie had this nefarious plan to push her to the coma stage so that he could torture her endlessly.
That's cool.
That's badass.
Fucking
it's weird because if she was truly his favorite, you don't really get a sense of that when he's interacting with her. Like, there's no sentimental qualities at all. There's not even, even though, let's just say, you had someone you loved and your best friend in the world, whatever. Like, even at the end of this is random, but the movie Point Break, at the end of that, Bodie, even though Johnny did all he did to get him, Bodie still looked at him and said, "You still surfing?" And he goes, "Every day." There's always that thing. It just reveals that the connection that grew over time and the sentimental thing will always sort of be there despite how things, shit went wrong at some point. And you don't get any of that with Nancy and Freddie. That's the one thing I regretted. I wished that they kind of played into that a little bit, but there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing there that wouldn't be with anybody else. And she was his favorite, and I wish that there was some kind of that came to fruition on screen somehow. I mean, except for, I don't know, what was the difference? What made her any different? That she is the one he wanted to be in a coma, and that's the deciding difference or whatever?
Everyone else was fucking dead. They were the last two left, which is kind of a misstep. I wish when they were looking up the other kids that were in the class, when they get to it later, that they just found one that was alive, and they could have enlisted him or her in the war. Or they could have just started having dreams. That would have been a little bit, it would have been cooler. It wouldn't have been so contrived if they did it that way. But I'm nitpicking a little. I just, in this movie in general, there's some things about it that I wish I could have written in myself that would have made it better. It's like they dropped the ball in a few places and just little things like that. But back to daydreams, fucking daydreams are stupid. Let me just say that whole shit was stupid. At least micro naps or micro sleep really exists, although you can't dream in them. But
you can't walk around dreaming. And if you did, how long would that last? Freddie couldn't get you in time anyway, right?
No, you can't. And it's they did the best they could, but it's definitely not as dumb as fucking daydreaming.
Yeah, it's not dumb, yeah, right.
Yeah, I do. I mean, like I said, they obviously are taking license with the whole thing, but I think that at least they had at least they grounded it in something believable or realistic to start off with. The one issue I do have in this film, and I was paying careful attention because if you'll remember during our last conversation with the last movie, Alex, we said that if this movie, in so much as gives at least waits to kill kids when they're asleep or gives them a good reason to go to sleep, then you have to give it points for that, based on some of the shit that we dealt with in the previous ones. And so I was really paying close attention, like, all right. And so the one thing that bothers me is Quentin when he has the dream in the swimming pool during the swim meet.
Yeah, he falls asleep while he's swimming.
Right. And I'm like, I understand the whole micronap thing. I see what you're doing there. I just don't know if you're going to fall asleep in the middle of a swimming pool while you're doing laps. I just don't know if that, that to me, that's reaching a little bit far. I know his body has been pushed to the limit at this point, and the whole point of micronaps is that it's going to hit you and there's nothing you can do about it. But I still think that's reaching a little bit far.
Yeah, because think about it. The girl burns herself with a cigarette lighter to stay awake. Normally, when you splash water in someone's face, that wakes them up.
Right. I don't think plunging yourself into an icy pool is going to then lend itself to you nodding off a couple seconds later,
It's weird that they chose that. Like, we can have him do anything and fall asleep, but we're going to make him swim. He doesn't come off as a swimmer, number one. An emo kid in the swimming pool? Right. That just seems like two opposites.
Yeah, you should have been a bowler or something.
Yeah, or like a knitter.
A knitter? Or playing hacky sack or something.
Yeah, right. And is he not the most fucking obedient son in the world? God damn, man. Every time that daddy shows up, he's just like, oh, daddy wants me to do something. Oh, daddy wants it. Oh, that's my dad. Gotta go.
Well, that's freaking Clancy Brown. I think I'd probably do whatever he told me to do, too.
And now you're getting to the cast.
There you go. Funny. What about that scene, though, into the pool and the dream that he has? Here's, as much as I love it, and there's a whole story why I love it, but as much as I love it, I have to question this. Why? Why does Freddie want to show him that? Why would that even matter to Freddie? Freddie's going to fucking kill them regardless. What does he care about them knowing his backstory? That's one little misstep, I think. It's great, but it's not really, as far as the plot goes, there's no reason for Freddie to show him any of that shit.
Well, I think it sort of leads them to the end, to the preschool at the end, because that dream makes him believe that Freddie was wrongfully accused and thereby wrongfully killed. And then Nancy says later on, she's like, everything he did was to lead us here, like to get us to come to the preschool. And they wouldn't have gone to the preschool if they didn't believe that he was innocent and they were trying to figure out the whole story. So
yeah, because in the dream he said he didn't do it.
Plus, right. Maybe it was. I'm obviously. I think it was mostly for our benefit.
Right, of course. Right. But why would he want them at the preschool? What does he give a fuck? He can kill them anytime he wants.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't remember now why. Because she said that they wanted him to. She said he wanted them to find something, and now I can't remember what the hell it was he wanted them to find.
Probably that he really did it or something.
Why would
maybe he wanted them to know. He's that fucking sadistic.
Yeah,
so.
And you know what, Dave? I'm going to give it a pass because think of human nature in general. Like when we go to kill somebody or we go do anything, we always give that speech so they know why we're killing them and things like that, You always got to get that last jab in or whatever, just get that justification so you feel justified and they know why you're killing them. Just things like that. That happens all the time.
Yeah, I can live with that. And I do really love the scene, and I wish he would have been innocent, but that's another story. Because when I first saw it, right? Go ahead, I'm sorry, Jamie.
Question. No, I interrupted you. No. But actually, I was just going to ask you what you feel about the fact that they did that little play with us, is he innocent, is he guilty kind of thing.
That was my problem. Like, when I first saw this movie, when I first saw the trailer, I saw that scene. And I remember thinking right away, I was like, oh, holy fuck, that's a brilliant thing to do. They're going to make it look like he was wronged and he was innocent, and that's why he's coming back and killing their children. That's fucking great, And then when I'm watching the movie, it looked like it was going that way, and then they pulled the rug up from under, and he just ended up being that. So that initially made me not like the movie the first time I saw it, because I was so jazzed up about fucking that whole subplot.
Right. You wanted him to be the good guy in a way.
Not necessarily the good guy, but we don't see that. Almost like Jason or something where somebody's wronged and coming back and doing and taking revenge. I guess in a way you could say kind of the good guy, but
yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's a weird description, but
right. I see what you're saying.
Well, the whole child molester angle I didn't like, only because I just didn't think it was necessary. I thought like the way they approached it in the original, and I know I'm going back to the original again, but I think the way that they approached it there was just so much better. I think this took it a little too far. I think they didn't leave as much to the imagination as they could have in this version, and that's kind of what bothered me.
But isn't it? Don't you have to up the stakes at some point, though? I mean, if you just... And it's actually more believable that he molested 12 kids or whatever it was compared to killing 20.
Well, yeah, but again, it's a movie. It's not supposed to be real.
But this I felt was the better choice, because when you see him gardening and everything and the kids running around, he's playing with them, that was so believable to me. And it was it totally sold me, man. He even looks like a child molester. No offense, John.
I thought he was like slow. When they're first showing him, I thought he was kind of like an imbecile, and this was his job, and he was on the level of the kids. So that really made it seem believable. That would have been like in real life that happens, almost like Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, a situation like that. Like they kill him and they say, "Oh, he's getting too close to the kids," and they whack him, and then he comes back for revenge. I would have liked that.
That makes me so sad.
Oh, me too. I hear you.
Yeah, it was almost like Boo Radley. Or Bradley, whatever his name is.
It was Radley.
To Kill a Mockingbird?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it so bizarre that The Simpsons did a parody of A Nightmare on Elm Street, and the guy who Jackie L. Hurley plays in this movie is the one who was Freddie? The groundskeeper? I mean, that's what he was, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that bizarre? Mm-hmm. What are the chances of that?
Maybe they watched it and got the idea from The Simpsons.
Dude, I think they did.
I still, like I said, I still think what I like about him being a molester rather than a killer is that it allows for these kids to have had a direct connection to Freddie. If he were a murderer of the kid, then there aren't, he killed him. So there's no one for him to torture that he directly affected. And here he affected all of these kids, and so he has that direct connection, like I mentioned earlier. I also like the fact that it was all these repressed memories.
Yes, I was going to say, you know why it's better? Because it softens the blow of the whole thing. If you're against the child molester thing, at least the kids don't even remember.
Well, here's the thing, though, or what I'm thinking anyway. If he's just the child molester and he didn't kill them when they were kids, then why doesn't he just molest them in their dreams as older people?
Well, I think now he's pissed because he got killed. So,
But he should still want to, diddle their little hoo-has. Well, now they're adult.
Yeah, but they're old now. He doesn't like old kids. He likes young kids.
Obviously he does, because Nancy is still his favorite, so...
Yeah.
Well, he plans on... That's why he pushed her into a coma. That was his plan, to push her into a coma, so he could diddle her bits all...
Exactly. So if he wanted to diddle Nancy's bits, he could have diddled Chris's bits. He could have diddled Jesse's bits. That's what I told you. Jesse in prison would have been better if he would have got it up the tailpipe, and that's just it. Shred that asshole.
I think Freddie is as thought out as Dylan from the last movie we did. Like, this kid had a whole plan about his this and that, and pills, and giving them to his mom, and this whole thing. And now Freddie somehow knows all about microsleep, because gardeners know tons about science.
He's a savant.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Boy, why does he know about it? As soon as they're sleeping, he's there. He doesn't have to be privy to the fucking...
No, he said he deliberately kept her away because he knows that she'll fall into a coma. Like, he knows that?
That's true, I guess.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
when you're dead, you know all that stuff. Maybe the dream demons told him.
Yes.
Maybe.
The only thing that I poke hole in I can poke a hole in is that molesters, and I don't know if this is every single case, so maybe I can't really poke a hole in it, but I've always heard that child molesters favor either female or male, that they don't primarily go after both.
Ooh.
Well, see, that's what I was actually going to bring up, is we don't ever actually see any flashbacks of him doing anything with the boys on a one-to-one level. So did he actually molest the boys?
Well, the boy was acting weird, he said. He goes, yeah, so he's been acting weird all week or something.
That's true.
And we do see scratches on his back. I think it was him, or was it one of the girls that we see?
That was Chris as a little girl that we saw the scratches on.
So he could have been maybe abusing, scratching up some and molesting some others. Anyway, it's neither here nor there, and I'm nitpicking a little, but I was thinking
the same thing.
Let's jump back really quick. We talked about the weird distinction between dreaming and reality, and the one place we do it is, with the Nancy thing, and it's weird that Mike brought up, she was pulled underwater. How do you guys feel that they cut that entire thing out of this movie? All you get is the glove coming from between her leg, and they totally cut out him pulling her under the water.
I think it's a nice nod. And then they did something different when she walked out into her bedroom and it was all snowy and everything. And
it's
then
snowing in my room, God damn it!
It was sweet.
Everybody knows that line, right?
Oh, wow.
Weird Science?
Yes.
Oh, Robert Russler. What? Oh, I said, I think it's a nice nod to the first one, and without taking everything from it and completely recreating the scene. They're just like, this is an iconic scene. Yes, we know that, and then we're going to do something. We're going to twist it a little bit and do our own take, and I think that's the good way to go.
I agree. How about the clear body bag again?
Yeah,
clear body bag.
I noticed that. I'm like, oh, they still didn't learn anything about body bags.
I know. I was thinking that, too. After Jamie said, when do you ever see a body bag that is clear? That's the point, to cover the body. It's so funny to see that now. They don't care, man. They're just like, well, we're homaging. We don't care.
I did. You brought up the Asian guy in the video. I like that, too. I like the fact that the whole scene where Nancy goes back and tries to track down all the other kids from that photo and discovers that they've all died in mysterious ways. The one guy vlogging about his nightmares, again, really clever, because it's showing that it's not solely focused on the kids that we're seeing. It's bigger than that. But you don't have to go through a big whole deal to let us know that. You just have to drop these little bits of information. And
yeah, you know what's cool about it? Remember how I complained in part 4 or so when I said, how come he doesn't just kill random kids? Why does it always have to be like a clique?
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't this bigger than that? And in this movie, it's cool because it is, and at the same time, it is a clique because it's the clique of kids who were molested by it. So again, the direct connection pays off.
I agree.
So the child molesting was a good idea because now they have to be those people. And at the same time, it's bigger than just the friends that we're watching. So that's the beauty of it.
It's cool, and I like everything except the ending of the Chinese kids video.
Yeah, because who the fuck uploaded that video if that happened?
They would have taken that down. People, they always take shit like that down off the internet. If someone gets fucking killed.
But who would have uploaded it to begin with? You think his parents walked in and said, oh, he was in the middle of a video blog before he died. We got to make sure to put that up. I mean, who did it?
Oh, that's true. Well, I think he was just recording it because he had like a MySpace.
Or did his head hit the enter button?
Yeah. His head hit something, that's for damn sure. Hit the computer, knocked everything the fuck out. And
Mike, don't a lot of your videos end that way?
Pretty much. But I just like that kid was the best part, well, one of the best parts of the Friday remake as well as Disturbia.
That was him?
That's him, Chewie?
Of course, yes, that is him, yes.
What?
Wow.
He was in a Friday and Nightmare remake?
Yes.
Wow.
Man, I would be telling everybody that till I die.
I agree he was one of the best things about the Friday remake.
Yeah, he was willing to...
Shoot the boot.
Shoot the boot, yeah.
Shoot the boot. Shoot the boot.
And how about this, man? We talk all the time about the parallels of what's going on in the dream, what's going on in real life. Now, here is where it was the greatest, man. Nancy is sleeping, and they're in, the pharmacy, and the way the dream parallels with the pharmacy setup, how the pipes, the hallway of where the pipes are and stuff, that is the aisles. And when Freddy's hitting things, things are falling off the shelf.
It's great.
It finally matched up so that when they move around, it works.
I think it's great. I think that entire scene is fucking great, and I love that they used that Everly Brothers song in there, that Dreams.
Oh, thank you. For
awesome.
One, I'm a huge Everly Brothers fan. I love the Everly Brothers, but that is one of my favorite songs of theirs, and I think it was such
He's
an
dog.
amazing choice. Oh, yay! It's such such an amazing choice, and a song that you would very likely hear in a pharmacy like that. I mean, you'd hear that over the music. So it's and so it's like a really subtle way to blend that in. And I agree too. Like when he's like taking swipes at her, and then you've got all the stuff flying off the shelves.
So cool.
That plus, I love the way the kids both look strung out as hell at this point because they've been awake for so long. And you've got Quentin up at the counter trying desperately to get his prescription refilled, looking for all the world like a drug addict.
I know. Come on, dude.
That was good though. It's believable. You didn't like that?
Doesn't it make you wonder, every time you see some strung out kid in a pharmacy late at night,
Right.
No, it's not. You didn't, dude. I'm not saying I didn't believe. What I'm saying is, does this guy have any SWAT like you gotta be street smart, man. You cannot. Come in there.
Know.
He's an emo kid. He's all fuck. He don't give a fuck. He's desperate. He hasn't slept in fucking days.
Dude, play the game.
Why didn't he just buy some Magnum 357s or something? And
But it's like the thing is, why just that specific pill? He could have just got a bunch of Red Bulls and said, fuck it, we can't get what we want, but I'm going to get this in the meantime. I'll try to pick up some tomorrow or whatever. Like, he was so hell-bent on just this fucking thing. It was so weird.
Well, remember he had the adrenaline shot.
I was going to say, which leads me to think of the adrenaline shot, another thing which I love. But see, I like the way that they obtained it, I mean, even though it's not really, in my experience, it's never been that easy to swipe drugs off of a cart in a hospital or, whatever, but.
And why only take 2 packets? Take 50,000 of them.
Yeah.
Stuff them down your pants.
Yes.
I do like the hospital scene, too, where she's like, I don't want it.
Wait, when Freddie was on top of her in the aisle, why did... Well, I guess at the time I was wondering, why did he want her to wake up when she grabbed his sweater? But now I guess it plays into him saying he wanted her to get to a point of never waking up again. So I guess you could argue that he did that because he wants her in permanent sleep.
He wants total control is what he wants.
So maybe that's what I'm missing. Maybe when I say I don't see a connection, I mean, there's still no on the surface sentimental connection between him and Nancy being her favorite, her being his favorite. However, the only connection you can draw is that he wanted her forever with him.
Right.
So her being in a coma would mean that he's hanging out with her all day and night.
Right.
So that's about it, right? I mean, that's all you could. That's the only reason to bring up that she was his favorite, right?
Wow. So it's 9/10. Never wake again.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Right, they changed it.
They should have.
And how about in the hospital? Do you guys know who that nurse was?
She was hot. I know I've seen her from something else before. She looked like Marilyn Chambers in her early days, but it's not her. Who is it?
Or maybe you're thinking of a different nurse. I'm talking about the one who made the mom sign the thing to put her to sleep.
Yeah, she was like a 40-something blonde. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's Judith Hoag. She was April O'Neil in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
That's her? Wow, I didn't even realize that. And I usually pick that shit up. Damn it, what is my problem?
I like the way
She's awesome. I love her, man. So they're driving down the road, and he swerves off the road to avoid Freddie. They run into like a lake of some kind or something. Then they make it to the preschool, though. That was the main point. And they get into the preschool, and they get into this secret room of Freddie. I forgot how they really found it, but they get in there, and there is the big reveal. Is Freddie a child molester in this movie? Yes. She looks at Polaroids, and, well, first her friend, her emo, discovers them, and he says, yeah, it's you. She's like, let me see. He's like, nah. And he keeps looking at them. And then she pulls him away.
He wanted to get it chubby.
He's like, I'm not finished yet. I'm playing pocket pool over here with your shit. Yes. Relax. Man, I want to fuck this kid.
Easy there, Matt.
The picture, if you freeze frame it, it's just a picture, like, all you can see is, like, the sort of the top part of a kid's naked body. Freddie had a whole spread that he did with the kids when they were in that room.
Yeah, he spread them all right.
He spread their ass cheeks.
Oh.
I'm sort of disappointed that they went with the same pull him out theory, because that's never been proven to work ever. So it's so weird that they went with this again.
Yeah, but it should work. It's about fucking time it did. If you can rip off the hat and rip off the clothes, why can't you take the person? It never made sense that it didn't work.
They when the kid pulled that paper slicer off that board, what movie did you think of?
Ooh, that's from another movie? Fuck.
What the
The Faculty.
Oh, I never saw it still. We talked about this.
Yeah, Josh Hartnett did that.
I've only seen that
I
twice.
knew I had seen that before, and I was trying to place it last night. I was like, God, where have I seen that before? And because I think it's a really good idea. I mean, if you've ever accidentally cut yourself with one of those paper slicers, then they're pretty fucking sharp.
Yeah, I know. It's like the hood of a car cutting your head off. Madman. Hood sharpeners, guys. Hood sharpeners.
I'm glad you said that, though, because that was bothering me.
Yeah. So the emo kid is worse than Johnny Depp. He couldn't stay awake for 2 fucking minutes. I don't think he made it past a whole minute. You know, it was amazing.
Well, that's his sickness.
Yeah, he was up a long time, though.
Yeah.
A long
Yeah, maybe it was a micro sleep, right?
Right, why not? Yeah. Here's the worst part about that is that the fucker survives. That pissed me off to no end in this movie. That's the biggest misstep. I hate when they do that in horror movies. Hate it. He got fucking shredded across the chest. Dude is fucking dead. Game over. Sorry, fuck you.
Not too many people died. We get the kid in jail. We get the Katie Cassidy.
Just like part 1, honestly. 3 people.
Right, yeah.
Well, the mother at the end, if you
4, okay. In both movies.
that. I mean, I don't know if you is that a dream? Is that real?
I'm gonna say it's a dream.
Here we go again.
No, it's real. No, it's real, and
Dude,
I'll tell you why it's
come
real.
on. How could he come out of a mirror? It's not real.
Because she pulled him out, and they said they didn't find a body, so that means that he's in the real world and he's escaped.
Yeah, but he still can't come through a mirror.
I know, Jamie. You're getting to dignify this with an A.
Liquidy. I mean, I think it was I'm saying. I mean, I believe it was a dream. But
T-1000 Freddie.
Did the mother die because he died her in the dream? Died her because he killed her.
Died
her. Holy shit!
Died her in.
Would she get her hair done?
The whole movie was a dream. There's the answer.
Yeah, no, we're not doing this again.
I wanted to think the whole movie was a dream after I saw it.
The best line of the movie is Nancy says, "Fuck you," and Freddie goes, "Sounds like fun. A little fast for me though. Let's hang around first, or hang out first."
I like that. I'm so glad you said that.
Reminds me, there was another line that Freddie had earlier when the kid's like, "What do you want?" or what do you want from me, or something like that, and he's like, "Can you bring the dead back to life?" And he's like, "No," and he goes, "I didn't fucking think so." Yes. And I was just like, oh, it was vicious. I mean, just the way that he said it was so friggin' mean. Has Freddie ever said fuck?
No.
Oh yeah, he says, "Help yourself, fucker."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Self
That's right.
Yeah. Always. It would have been better though if when she said "fuck you," it would have been funnier if he was like, "I would have, but you're too old for me at this point." Maybe 10 years ago. But you get the sense that everything that's going on is pointless, and he's just toying with them the whole time in these dreams because it doesn't seem like anything affects him, and he's just acting it out. You know, it's just like the old Freddy used to do in a way.
Well, he says, "You can't hurt me. You're in my world now," which...
that's going somewhere that I hated.
And that's what I thought you were going to say. You love that line. I was going to fucking say, what?
Oh,
but then
please.
you picked the right one. Just making sure. All right. Or I thought maybe you were going with sarcasm.
Yeah. But yeah, again, in this whole thing, he was just so angry and mean to Nancy that there's no sense of her being his favorite. Now, they did the line, "I'm your boyfriend now." They did that again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He said, "Don't fall asleep" earlier on in the movie. Whatever you do, don't fall asleep really quick, which was okay.
Then the big climax, he comes out of the dream, she pulls him out, and, he sticks the things in the kid's chest, like Dave said, the knives in the day. And by the way, let's talk about the glove. Far better use of his glove than Robert Englund ever did. I mean,
great.
Just moving it around, go like that's, he really mastered. I mean, that was a guy who cared about his character enough to master everything about his character.
I mean, if you're going in to replace such a well-known, beloved character, like replace an actor playing that character, you're gonna have to bring your A game. Like you're going to have to put everything into it because you're already going to you're going to be under scrutiny before anyone even sees the movie. And so, I mean, and I kind of feel bad for him. I don't know if I would want to accept a role like that.
There's people like Mike out there who...
Yeah. I hated his performance.
You know,
did you really?
Yes, I did.
Damn.
I don't know how.
Because you compare.
Know how.
I think if Mike didn't compare so much between this, and that's the golden rule of remakes, is not to compare. I think if you just look at it as a standalone movie, I think that's the problem many people have with this movie, is comparison to fucking Robert Englund and comparison to the first movies. And it's just, you can't do that.
And you see, I did it though, Dave, and I came out okay because I just did it out of a curiosity, and just like that's weird that they didn't do the same bathtub scene, and that's things like that. I didn't compare it in any way where even Tina's death, I didn't say, oh, that was so much better in the original. I mean, the only real comparison I did where it did have an issue with it is the CG wall thing, but even then, I'm not even sure if. Just because it was done in the first movie, if I still would have thought I liked that. That still looks stupid to me, I think.
We didn't get as much of the music in this movie as I may have liked, but we did get some, and I was okay with that. Honestly, when I was watching this, I was doing the opposite thing. I was trying to pick it apart because I was like, okay, it's pretty well known at this point that I defend this movie and that I like this movie. Everyone within the sound of my voice knows this already. And I'm like, so let me really try to see if I'm wrong. Look at this with extra scrutiny and just try to pick it apart. And so I was being really cruel to this movie while I was watching it, only it didn't matter.
Did you find out you were wrong?
No, I didn't. I found out that this was...
How convenient.
That this movie is that solid. I just can't help it. It's scary, it's dark, it's well done. And even if it is Platinum Dunes, which I am not crazy about, I like it. I have to give them props for this because I think that there were so many things well done about it. I like the acting for the most part. The peripheral characters I think are more interesting than some of the ones in the original film. I don't hate Nancy. I think she's kind of boring, but and I much would have preferred Katie Cassidy in that role. But I love Katie Cassidy when she's in it. I don't know. I just didn't. I couldn't. I was like, and as far as Jackie Earle Haley goes, he put his whole fucking soul into this thing, and I think he did a damn good job.
Mike, what don't you like about it? Him, specifically.
Just, I don't like anything about him. I really don't. And believe me, this is the 5th time, I think, that I've seen this movie now for this retrospective, and every time that I watch it, I hate it more. I really do. And I try not to. I try to be objective. I just, there's something that I just can't do it. And maybe it's because I've been watching the original since I was 5. And now look, we know that Halloween is my favorite franchise, yeah. But I think that remake is leaps and bounds above what this is. Just because it is so different. I mean, but this just, I don't know. It's like Robert Englund is iconic, and you cannot replace someone like that. There's
even with a fresh new take on it, you still don't think
there was. Yeah, but it really didn't seem fresh to me.
What if Donald Pleasance played Freddy Krueger?
Well, now then we'd have a movie. But
so what you're saying is he is replaceable. Just you don't think they picked the right guy to do it?
Oh, God, no, they didn't. No, they definitely did not. They definitely did not. And I wanted to, after the movie was over, I wanted to take a gun to Andrew Form and Brad Fuller and just put it to their temples and pull the trigger.
I want to do that anyway.
And say, if you want to make this movie... Like, look, you made Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake in 2003. That was brilliant. What did you do? You've totally destroyed this franchise by making this movie. You really did.
I disagree with that statement. I actually enjoy the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I own it. I've seen it a ton.
Well, I love that too.
But
they destroyed Nightmare.
I don't think it's brilliant by any respect. I mean, I think they fucked up a lot.
That's just Mike words. He doesn't really mean that.
In their adaptation.
What? No, that I do mean. I think the remake of Texas Chainsaw is brilliant.
It is not brilliant. They missed a lot about what was good about the original. I mean, the whole... They missed a lot. They just covered the whole thing in blood, and that's not what that movie is about. And, whatever. I mean, that's a whole different conversation. But I think this is the most successful Platinum Dunes remake, period.
Successful? What does that mean?
Success from my point of view. It's I think it's my
favorite. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, if it was, they would have made a sequel by seriously, they would have made a sequel by now. Same thing with Friday. They would have made a sequel by now. If it didn't. And I mean, look, now Friday they're not even making a sequel. They're rebooting it again because they realized they fucked up.
They did the same thing with Texas Chainsaw. None of them are getting the sequels. They're just not. Pardon me, Halloween did. I'm sorry, but that's different.
And what a sequel.
Right. This is true.
Now, Freddie, goes to kill Emo, and he goes to slash his face or cut his throat with his glove, and he goes to do it, and then this girl, Nancy, slices his hand off, and the glove just goes flying on the ground. That was great. She turns around, she goes, "It hurts, doesn't it? That's because you're in my world now, bitch." Now, I'm sorry, man. After Monica Keena did that, I don't know for the life of me why anybody... I mean, Freddy vs. Jason, the tone of that movie is so far removed from the tone of this movie. To think you would even want our brains to go there is absurd to me.
You know what? That's a good point. That's a good point, but my brain didn't go there. So,
what?
But that is a very good point.
No, my brain didn't either.
Oh, wow. I can't. It's so awful. I can't fucking ignore it.
I didn't even think about Monica Keena when she did that. I just thought it was kind of funny because Freddie always calls everyone bitch.
Bitch, yeah.
If he would have in this movie, yeah, but he didn't. He should have. If he would have done bitch, bitch, bitch throughout, then I could have looked the other way.
No, I think he called her a bitch when he said, "You can't hurt me because you're in my world, bitch," or something like that.
Did he? I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. But they did it in that movie. They did it in Freddy vs. Jason. They did it in the fucking Friday the 13th remake, too. I fucking hate it. Then they did it in the TCM 3D, kind of. Welcome to Texas.
Yeah, get him, cuz.
Get him, cuz. Just them fucking lines. You're right, Alex. It all started with that.
Welcome to Texas, motherfucker, which is the dumbest fucking line. Since he grew up in Texas and she did not. I don't even understand that shit. You're not even from Texas. Shut up.
And how about how cunty that Nancy is? That not only does she cut his throat and leave him for dead, but she fucking sets him on fire again.
Well, fuck. How cunty she should. Here's what was pissing me off at that movie. They just pulled a fucking... First and foremost, they were going to walk away for a second, and the first thing I'm thinking of is, why the fuck would you not grab that fucking guy by his legs? That would be the find of the century. I pulled somebody out of my dream. Look, this is proof of fucking life. They would be on the cover of fucking National Geographic. They'd be all over them. They'd be famous. So...
Was it known that he died, or did the parents hide that?
They said he left town.
They wouldn't even believe he was dead. They would just say, yeah, so he's burned.
Then they did the right thing by burning him. If you're not going to take him and make money off his fucking corpse, you better fucking make sure he's good and dead. Right?
I don't know. I mean, would you really think after all of that you'd been through, would be the first thought to cross your mind be like, man, I can make some dough?
Hey, mind on my money and my money on my mind.
What I don't like is that she throws the lantern into the corner. I'm like, fuck that. I'm throwing it right on his body. I mean, I'm not going to wait for it to get to him. I'm going to start it on him.
Right, smash it over his fucking head.
Was there gas in that room? Was that what I missed? He poured it in there like the barn? I don't know.
Because Freddie. No, just kidding.
Because Dave.
The last jump scare, just like, the original, when they drove away and the car turned into Freddy's sweater. In this one, they're walking down the hallway, and then the mom walks past a mirror, and unfortunately, this would have been fucking great, but the CGI is just so annoying, especially if you don't have great people doing it and really great technology. This was just full of CGI, man. the gloves go through her back of her head and the spikes come out of her eyes and face. That would be phenomenal to me.
But it looked bad.
It looks so bad. And pulling her through the mirror in CGI is just as bad as pulling a fucking puppet through the window. I mean, you could take either one. It's just bad for each day it happened, for each age that we're watching movies in. What are you going to do? It's just so CGI, it's so distracting that I can't even treat it like a real ending. I mean, I get you could say, okay, I guess that's what happened, but I'm not putting much into it because it's fake.
I think it's kind of a downer that they ended the movie. I mean, that's the last thing you see.
Right.
Is so that it looks so bad. That's kind of depressing.
That's weird. They ended it on a whimper in a way.
Then you get more Everly Brothers.
Yep.
Yes.
Dream.
Yeah, that song's been in my iPod ever since I saw this movie at the theater. I never really. It isn't that I didn't care for it before, but after I saw that movie, I sought it out and I said, okay, I'm fucking putting that shit. I'm gonna have it in my possession. That's good stuff. It'll always remind me of this movie. I like it.
Only they'd used Mr. Sandman.
Oh yes.
That would have made it a much better.
Mr. Sand. How is that scary? How is dream? How is that scary, man?
That's not scary.
What about Hey, did we get that cue in this movie or no?
There was a scene where it was when they were walking toward the preschool. We got a little bit of, it wasn't that part, it was another part of the score, but I can't remember exactly how. Anyway, I picked it out at the time.
Was it from part 2?
No.
Yeah, that was something, wouldn't it?
But it was something, it was just in the background, barely recognizable, but it was there if you wanted to look for it. And then I thought, son of a bitch, I should have been paying better attention in the beginning. I started paying attention to the music probably a third of the way in. So if there were some, and I don't know why, but it didn't hit me until then. But there may have been something in the beginning that I missed. But
the very beginning, when the New Line credits came in, they did something else. They teased it a little bit, I believe.
Oh, okay.
That's what I remember being a little bit wowed by that, saying, okay, that was cool. It feels like a nightmare movie.
Nude on Blu-ray, it's the sensational sci-fi stunner Ex Machina. In addition to some fabulous full frontal from Sonoya Mizuno and several other robot babes, the real star of the show is Alicia Vikander, who bears boobs, butt, and even her fur burger. Ex Machina will give you a hard drive.
This is the Mr. Skin Minute.
Also nude on Blu-ray, Britt Robertson saves a horse and rides a cowboy in The Longest Ride. You'll yell, "Whoa, nippies," 1 hour in when Britt hops in the shower for a sex scene and shows off her Annie Pokelys. This may be the longest ride, but Britt will bring you to a quick finish. Nude on HBO, Andy Samberg stars in the Wimbledon mockumentary 7 Days in Hell. But it's more like heaven 25 minutes in when Lisa Roberts streaks at his tennis match, then goes down for an on-court threesome. Game, set, snatch.
MrSkin.com. Fast forwarding to the good parts.
So rating time. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, the remake. Well, we know how Jamie feels, so let's let her get that out of the way, and then we'll get the three surprise ratings, I guess, because nobody knows how we feel. So, Jamie, how do you feel about this movie?
Yay! I like it. I am pretty okay with this movie. I think it's safe to say. I do have my sticking points are the CGI. Like I said, it was really depressing to me that the last thing we got to see was some crappy CGI. But other than that, I'm pretty much okay with just about everything. Maybe the falling asleep in the swimming pool sticks. But I'm going to say 4.5.
Nice.
I pretty close to freaking love this movie.
Cool. Now, I think it's not a surprise what Mike thinks, actually. So let's go to Mike.
I have utter disdain for this film. I think the score was great, but I bought the soundtrack. I thought it was really good. It's about the only thing that I like about the movie, and I actually do hate this a lot more than Nightmare 2.
See that, you jerk?
So yeah, that should make Alex happy. I do hate this much more than Nightmare 2. And I would have to say, if I could give this a rating, a -5 times infinity. There you go.
Damn.
I don't believe you.
Yes.
See, I'm going to argue a point, and you have to go up, because you like the first 30 minutes of this film very much.
I'm not saying that I like Katie Cassidy. She's not in the first 30 minutes consecutively. If she was in the first 30 minutes of this from play to then we'd be okay.
You don't even give her one?
Yeah, I can give her one, but she doesn't.
She carries a third of the movie.
Yeah, but she only carries scenes that she's in, and she's not in every scene for the first 30 minutes. That's the only problem.
Hell, even if he gave her one, it would just be what negative 4 times infinity.
It's -4 times infinity. We'll do that. I'll give her one.
Okay, good. At least you're fair.
Yes.
Since you, real quick, since you do have the soundtrack for this, are there more musical cues similar to the previous films?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. I was just curious.
Okay, Dave Z.
All right. There's some things I like. There's some things I don't like. Probably a little bit more than I like, though. I mean, there's some plot holes that I brought up, but I like what you said earlier about what he was doing with the knives, and I think that Robert Englund got away from that with the glove as the series went on. I like what Jackie Earl Haley did with his performance. I like what Jackie was doing. I like his performance, like the way he looked, like his delivery of lines. He was fucking scary. The movie itself was dark. It was actually filmed well. There was some good shots. There was the shot with the kid and he was rubbing his eyes and it was blurry, and then he was in the library and the little girl was there, and then there was that one shot when they were looking at the children in the picture, and then it kind of segued into the past. And, there was some good shots. There was some good things going on here, and yeah, there are some plot holes. There are some things I wish, like I said earlier, if I could have written this movie myself, I would have made it a better movie. I could edit it out a little and change it. But it's definitely not as bad as the shit that it gets on. People shit on it, and they really shouldn't. It's too much fucking comparing to Robert Englund and too much comparing to the original, and you just can't do that.
That has to be it,
yeah. Yeah, it does have to be, because this is not a bad movie.
Yay.
All in all, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I like this movie.
Oh man, I thought you were heading for something higher.
No, I almost went 3.5. I wanted to go 3.5. I'm gonna go 3.5. Fuck it.
Yay!
Just say 4.
No, I'm not saying 4. It's not a 4. It's a 3.5. So yeah, it's cool. And it's definitely the best one since fucking part 3. Fuck 4 and everything that came after it. This is just like what I said about the Friday the 13th sequel. How I said that was better than everything that came after part 5. Same shit. They did the same thing here. So.
You mean remake?
Remake, yeah.
The sequel, of course, that's better than everything in Friday 13th. Because Friday 2 is the best.
You think this is better than New Nightmare?
Yeah, fuck New Nightmare. It didn't make any fucking sense. I wanted to like it. That's the biggest disappointment. It made no fucking sense at all.
I'm sorry I missed that, because we would have had a discussion, and yes.
Well, when you listen back to the show, you'll see that I make perfect sense. Because every question I asked, they couldn't answer. So therefore, it didn't make sense.
Hey, listen, what am I, the spokesman or something?
3.5.
All right, 3.5. So we got a -4 times something. Infinity. We have 4.5. And, okay, so first 2 times I saw this, I didn't like it at all. I do remember appreciating Katie Cassidy. I appreciate her even more this time. I love her.
Yes.
Way into her whole thing.
And it's not just that she's hot, which she is, but I really think she's a good actress.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
No, she definitely is.
Yep, and she's charismatic. Mm-hmm. So, I really love the way it was filmed. I love the look. I love the sense of dread. I love the sense that they're giving you the evilness, I guess. Jackie Earle Haley, I didn't like his delivery on a lot of the lines.
Yes!
His look, he looked a little awkward. It was a weird fitting of the sweater or something, or whatever it was. That just didn't look as perfect to me as I hoped it would. His teeth were a little distracting, but I think, like Jamie said, they really went burn victim there and like had their teeth were always exposed because their lips sort of melt away. So that's, I guess, just accurate. So nothing you can do about it. And I do like that he had no real jokes, and anything that was humorous was just cynical, really. He did drop a few lines like "This is God" and all that type of thing. That was kind of weird. And I think they did force the line, how's that for a wet dream? I just think that made no sense. I don't care that she's running in water. What the fuck does that mean?
And it's a chick. Do chicks have wet dreams?
Yeah, right. I don't think they do. So I don't know why you would even say it.
It's got to be possible somewhere.
Like, what are they get wet when they're in? Like, who would even know that? So, I mean, unless you wake up with, like, a stain in your underwear. But, from all, the leaky discharge or some shit. But,
Interesting.
Overall, I was really on board and along for the ride and really into it. And although Nancy it was like a seesaw tottering whether or not I like looking at this lead person or if this person is truly carrying this movie or not. It kept going around and around and back and forth for me, but I eventually just kept watching what they're doing, and that's about it, and didn't think about things like that. And I think it all really worked really well, and they executed it really good. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5.
Woo!
Wow.
Oh, God,
Yeah,
that hurts.
baby.
Yeah, I didn't think I would. I thought I would just like the first 30 minutes, but I really liked it. And Mike bought me a Blu-ray of this movie. And I'm glad because I was hoping it was going to be on streaming Netflix or something.
I should have just sent you my copy.
But I'm glad I own this now because I would like to give this further rewatches. So.
Oh, God, no.
Woot.
Yep.
Take that, Mike Merriman.
you know what I was thinking?
This episode of the Skeleton Crew is brought to you by Hypnocil.
Attention, parents of Springwood, Ohio. Is your child being a total fucking asshole? Doing shit like constantly leaving their clothes lying around?
Joey, I'm getting tired of picking up your clothes.
Do they give you attitude about dinner because 2 of my friends died this week?
Something the matter with the cuisine?
Well, Mom, I'll tell you. When 2 of your friends die in the same day, let me know what it does to your appetite.
Constantly going near a house that you specifically told these pricks to stay away from.
Get the hell away from that house! On delay!
How about this? Do these jerkholes lash out anytime a stranger talks to them?
Where you from?
I don't know!
Does your retard of a child cock-block your ass every time you bring home a stranger to plow your field?
I'm still having those awful dreams.
Hey, where do you keep the bourbon?
Honey, I've got a guest.
Do they think they're Encyclopedia fucking Brown when they've realized that maybe you killed a dude 20 years ago?
Give me that damn thing. It even has his name written in it. Fred Krueger. Do you know who that is, Mother?
Well, it's time to say fuck you to your kids, because we have the solution. Hypnocil. Hypnocil. Fucking A, just slip a little pill inside of the bastard's juice in the morning and boom, no nightmares. Let's face it, they have nightmares because you're a terrible fucking parent. So rather than actually talk to these douchebags, Hypnocil their asses. No more bitching about warm milk.
I've heated up some warm milk for you, honey. Warm milk?
No more excessive diarrhea-inducing coffee consumption.
Stop drinking that damn coffee.
No more begging for narcotics.
Do you have any caffeine pills or coffee, maybe some Coke?
No more wondering if something very strange is going on here.
We have reason to believe that there might be something very strange going on here.
No more rooms that are still packed.
I told you I want that room unpacked.
Man, I'm just going out for an hour or two.
Right now, son.
Hypnocil. Take away the dreams, take away the asshole. But don't stop there. Is your wife being a bitch that constantly gives excuses about your whack job son?
Honey, he's all right. He's just having a bad day.
Hypnocil her ass too. Hypnocil them all. Hypnocil. Just drug these fucks in the morning and they'll be obedient by lunch. Hypnocil. 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 Take away the dreams, take away the asshole. Hypnocil. 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 Just drink your fucking juice and shut the fuck up.
Well, at least drink your juice.
Hypnocil is an experimental psychoactive drug and shouldn't be taken by anyone.
Hello, kiddies. It's me, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And you're listening to The Skeleton Crew.
Alright guys, well this is the end. It was a fun little journey, I guess, to go through all these movies. Some were better than others, of course, but overall we had a good time with each other. So that was cool. Now, we got some feedback early on in the retro, and we just couldn't get it in. So we'd rather leave it at the end when we could kind of sum up the entire franchise. So here's the email. This is from Mike. He says, "Hey guys, first off, I discovered your podcast, and this retrospective is the first thing I'm listening to," and that was the part 1 review. And he says, as to your discussion about the logic of Nightmare on Elm Street, the reality of Tina's nightgown getting slashed, Glenn getting sucked into the bed, or Nancy's mom sinking into the bed aren't really an issue for me. You said it makes no sense that Glenn can get sucked into the bed in the real world because the bed is a solid object and therefore there is nowhere for him to get sucked into. The thing is, if you're going to question that, then you have to question Tina levitating around the room or getting slashed open by invisible blades. No matter what Freddie is doing to her in her dream, it's physically impossible for her to fly around the room in the real world, or for her skin to split so perfectly. But because Freddie is supernatural, both of these scenes actually play to the rules the movie establishes. The same goes for Nancy's mom. One of you mentioned that Freddie's supernatural abilities followed him into the real world, and that's why her mom could get lowered into the misty bed. But then there was a counter-argument saying, no, Freddie is in the real world, therefore he no longer has supernatural powers, and that's the point of bringing him there, to kill him. This counter-argument is untrue. He's a supernatural entity no matter where he is. He may inhabit dreams, but his existence there impacts the waking world, as people do die. And therefore, he does exist in the waking world, albeit as a dream monster. The fact is, Nancy got it wrong. She thought by bringing Freddie into the real world, she could make him human and kill him, but burning him didn't work. He still managed to kill her mom, and then, as he started to walk away, he came out of the bed fresh and new. It proves that he's still supernatural in the real world. Even though he's in the waking world, he still can't be killed by physical means. She realizes this and then finally destroys him, destroys in quotations, destroys a supernatural being with supernatural means by choosing not to believe in him. Bringing him into the real world was a misdirect and actually played no part in his demise. Freddie is like a tulpa, a thought form, a being that exists because people give it power to exist. He's supernatural whether he's in the dream world or the real world, and therefore anything that happens to anyone, Tina, Glenn, Nancy's mom, is going to be a supernatural event. So
I agree and with part of that, and I disagree with part of that. I agree with the whole Nancy was wrong thing. I mean, I think that just because she had this theory doesn't mean that it was a correct theory. She's a teenager. She had a theory. That doesn't mean it's going to work. I agree with that. I disagree with the whole bed thing as far as Glenn goes and as far as the mother goes, because even if he is supernatural, the furniture is not. And if she can, as far as Tina being thrown around the room and dragged across the ceiling or whatever, if Freddie, being a supernatural being, were actually there in corporeal form, he could physically do that. So it's basically like he's just invisible. But him being there or not would not change the fact that Glenn's bed is a solid object in the real world. So I think that you can accept one and dismiss the other, and it's just because of physics. Does that make any sense?
Yes, I agree with exactly what you said. I feel the same way. Yeah, it does make sense.
I'm thinking I like a lot of his stuff, but I think 100% of it's unanswerable.
It's the movie's confusing because we got confused when we were talking about it, and that email it's more confusion.
No, I thought it simplified things to me, but I don't think he answered. I mean, he just said that they died in supernatural means. Freddie just has that power.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to, I mean, if you're just talking about the first movie, then that's one thing. But if you want to bring in later, if you want to talk about the franchise as a whole, later on, Freddie makes a statement, I forgot how painful it is to be human, or I forgot how much it hurts to be human. When he's pulled into the real world, he feels pain, which means he should not be supernatural, because in his supernatural dream state, he doesn't feel pain. He chops off his own fingers.
Yeah, but in that same movie, he snapped his hand back in place and he walked on the ceiling.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, is that
It's all contradictory. Yeah,
it's very contradictory. Yeah.
Mike, good answer, but it's just too contradictory. Like, you're making a lot of sense, but then the movie just doesn't make sense as you keep, or the movies just do not continue to make sense. Because there's different writers, different things. It just starts playing by its own rules that don't apply to anything prior.
But I do like the fact. I do like the point that just because Nancy thinks that that's what would happen, it doesn't mean that it would. That she just made a mistake. I think that that's accurate.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, this is the end of our A Nightmare on Elm Street retrospective. It's been a long summer. We hope you've enjoyed all those nights. I can't believe it's already the end of July. It's crazy, man. 8 weeks. So we're going to take a little vacation. So while we're on vacation, as you guys know, throughout this retrospective, you've been getting a little treat called the Skeleton Bones. That is our answer to that friggin' competition. They think they're competition, Banana Laser. They came up with this thing called Banana Bites or something like that. So we're answering that with Skeleton Bones. And that's our version to try to top them because they think they're hot shit. And,
we're winning.
Yeah, we're winning, man. Because we got people like Mike and Dave on the show, and they don't have talent like that over there. So it's an automatic win,
Win-win.
So that works out. So you're going to be getting that throughout. And the regular show with myself, Jamie, Mike, and Dave will be back around October. But we have a special treat for you in October, too. So we might even be going longer than that. So I don't know. We'll see, though. But it's a whole big stuff that we're working on, so just get ready for that. But we hope you enjoyed the retro. So, guys, how do you feel? Jamie, how do you feel going through all these movies this summer?
Glad it's over. but I'm glad we did it. And I had a good time. And retros are something I've always loved doing on this show. And I love how the listeners get really involved and seem to enjoy it. So, yay.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, yeah, sure, I've talked shit about some of these movies, and I've praised a few. And but overall, I haven't seen some of these movies in a long time, and it was a good reason to watch them. And boy, it was an up and down series, definitely. I'm sure it's full of surprises for the listeners as well. But I'm damn glad we did it. And like Jamie said, retros are always cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah. Mike, how do you feel after you blasted through these 6 movies? We're sorry we missed you for 5 and 6. And 7, holy shit.
Yeah, and your Nightmare.
Man, did you do anything here? Maybe we shouldn't even give you credit or ask you anything.
Yeah, right? Maybe you should. Well, we know that I do like the majority of the movies except for 2 and 5, but I dislike none more than that abysmal remake.
Wow. The one movie that hints quality after that nightmare stretch.
Right? At least this movie, at least the remake, was about kids fighting to stay awake again, which we hadn't seen in so long.
Yeah, now they have no choice. They just get sucked in those other movies.
Yeah, it's old.
Sucked into beds or whatever else. Yeah. See, now if in the remake somebody would have got sucked into a bed, maybe it would have won me over a little bit.
Oh yeah, they didn't redo that one.
Yeah. Maybe if they would have sucked emo Quentin into the bed, we would have been in business.
Interesting. Well, I had a good time, sort of. I really got engulfed into this thing. I really lived the nightmare. Watched everything I could, listened to the music, played the video games, everything. I try to get into the whole Fred head of the whole thing. So it's nice to do that and get completely into what you're doing and passionate about it. But at the same time, it's going to be nice to stop and just go back to normal. And just think about other things and prioritize other things to watch.
Oh, thank God for that. Sons, here I come.
Sons of Anarchy, here we go. There's a lot of mystique to this franchise. A lot of people are passionate, and you always wonder, what are they into? What is this? What are they so... Freddy is an iconic symbol, but don't these movies suck and stuff? So it was good to dive in and get really deep into it and figure it out for ourselves along the way. Each stop, each scene, go through each scene or whatever, and all that type of stuff. And my overall consensus is that This franchise is justified to be liked because it has just as many good movies as any other franchise. I mean, let's face it, half of almost every franchise sucks once you go past like 6 movies. Half the Hellraisers suck, half the Halloweens suck, half the Fridays suck. It's just how it goes. It's the nature of the beast. So this is justifiable. These movies are okay. And Jamie should have had it in her top 5 favorite franchises because part 1, 2, 3, and 7 and the remake are good enough in my book to be a favorite franchise.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually, as we were doing this, fresh off doing the top 5 franchises, I was like, man, does this belong? And I think, yeah, it does. I think it does have enough solid entries to make it.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that was it. This is the Skeleton Crew, and we will see you in the future. Be sure to stay tuned for Skeleton Bones, hosted by your very own Michael J.
Bye, everyone. I love you all.
Later, lasers. Oh, wait, no, wrong show. Sorry. No, sorry. See you later, guys. Talk to you soon. And
Boneheads.
Yeah. Boneheads. Yeah. Thanks, Boneheads. Enjoy the show. And, I'll be around. Fuck, I'm all over the joint, so. See you.
See you later, boneheads, fredheads, whatever the hell you want to call yourselves. Oh, and don't forget about Skeleton Bones. You've been hearing it with me and Dave and whoever else we decide to throw on into the mix, so listen for that. We're not going anywhere, and we will beat Banana Bites. Thank you.
There you have it, guys. How was that for a wet dream? See you later.
Well, kids, I guess you survived this little nightmare. You know, these assholes talked a lot of shit about my movies. You know what, guys? They're fucking dreams. They're not supposed to make sense. You fucking idiots. What does everything Jason or Michael or Leatherface do make sense? Make sense yourself, fuckers. It doesn't make sense that people listen to this show. You guys suck. And the fact that so many of you thought this remake was pretty good shows that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So don't ever challenge Freddie. So anyway, to all you guys who are big fans of mine, thank you. And I'm sorry you put up with this shit for so long. 2 months, man. 2 months. Assholes. Well, the nightmare's over, kids, but you can always watch my movies over and over again. But more than anything, make sure you watch Part 2. That is my favorite of my movies. Part 2, guys, that's the best one. Stop talking shit about it. Anyway, have a good night, kiddies. The Skeleton Crew's taking a little break for the end of the summer, but they have something really spooky in store for October. They're bringing it to you with the help of Banana Laser. Those are good guys. So kids, until next time, Freddy Krueger saying, Bon appetit, bitch. It's a boy.